All right, my high vibrational expressions of God on earth. Let's break down Lucious Lion, the Lucifer Lion, the Empire, the cosmic serpent, and what we just finished talking about, rousing Leviathan. Today, brothers and sisters, we're going to go into what's really going on behind the scenes of the cosmic egg and its new information that's coming out. I say new, but it's obviously not new. It's just a re-overstanding of what I've been saying for years, which is the curves and the circles instead of the linear and the lines, or the lion. So we want to make sure that we understand how Hollywood uses the holly tree to get a actor. And this is no disrespect to my boy, to Terrence Howard, and I'm sure he's a very intellectual, everything that he's claiming to be. So it's not, Hollywood's not stupid. They pick, kind of like in the movie 88 I was telling you guys about, they pick people who are in line with their design because they understand names. As I've been saying for years and years and years, the most powerful thing on the planet is your name. And I've been sharing the different websites with you guys that really gets into the true hidden esoteric, not websites, but like YouTube videos, TikTok videos, that other people are talking about numerology and the power of these emanations and what numbers, really are when we have these numbers. Especially for people who, have the apex or the A in the beginning of your name, especially people that are, like we talked about last night when we did, not the whole show, but put a lot of emphasis on understanding the power, if you will, of the letter A, because it's the first, it's the Aleph, and that's this Hebrew guy, this Kabbalist that's talking about the power of the letter A and the power of understanding the true esoteric meaning of the number and the letters. That establishes what we call the serpent energy, or Leviathan. So we just finished talking about rousing Leviathan, and everybody that took that class, and you really, really now have a deeper understanding of consciousness and why you can't get out of the cosmic planetary shifts that changes your genes, regardless of what you want to do. There is a cosmic code in place. We call it letters and numbers. So we got to understand that the power of this cosmic frequency, wave, and vibration that what they call, again, the cosmic serpent energy. And so what is coming out right now is this over and understanding of this frequency, this wave, this vibration that activates the DNA. And so when we talk about the powerful of how your spirituality and your theology is synthesized inside of your biology, which brings about this cosmic connection of what's going on in the sky and how it affects what's going on in your body. This is the true understanding of how the brain works. So at the heart of all knowledge and gnosis is this understanding or lack of understanding of this cosmic, this galactic. So it's way above what we think. So we're talking race, and we're talking, numbers and letters and all of this stuff, when really we should be talking about cosmology and over understanding the divining serpent that's inside of this cosmic egg that makes me and you do everything that we do. So you have a feeling, there's something going on inside of you right now that's been affected. We talked about what's going on in the world right now. I don't know if you can sense it or tell, but my body is feeling the change because of the CMEs that's being released by this cosmic chi, or this cosmic egg, or this cosmic energy. We talked about, again, the silent depression that's going on right now. We talked about the silent recession that you are in right now, and nobody's talking about it. Everybody is just kind of going along with their life, not really over and understanding the change that is taking place inside of your DNA, but you can feel it. The earth is upgrading its DNA, and so your DNA is being upgraded. Now, if you are really tuned in, you can feel it, you can sense it, because it feels like, something's off from the perspective of a recession. It simply means a recession is a stoppage of a normal frequency, wave of vibration, to the degree that you can understand how this ties into what we call evil. That's the whole point of the advanced classes, so you can see that, okay, you are perceiving this reality because that's what the dominant culture wants you to do, and they got an actor now acting in a role, because that's the whole world is a stage. And once you understand that the whole world is a stage, you now are able to see through the smoke and the mirrors, and you can see that series Empire. And Empire, they say E-M pyro. So it's a fire that's caused by the electricity and the magnetism. They selected Terrence Howard because when you do the numerology and the birth, just like they selected Barack, like in the movie 88. So what you're seeing on display, which the average Alkebulan can't see, and I don't even know if you should. But for me, it's really amazing, because all of this ties into all of the stuff we've been talking about, especially what we talked about in the last night and the night before with rousing and raising Leviathan, which is the cosmic serpent, which is, again, talking about Ophiuchus. And all of this stuff that he's coming out with, I've talked about 20 years ago, along with a lot of other people. So the question that is nobody's asking is, why is Terrence Howard coming out with all of this information now? How come he ain't dead? It's amazing when somebody comes out with this level of knowledge. You can tell that they are just like Joe Rogan, and just like my other dude that was on trial, what's his name? The other podcast dude that snuck into Bohemian Grove, and he was just on trial and blah, blah, blah. All of these guys are actors. But the whole world is a stage. And the average Alkebulan cannot see the forest, because the forest has a lot of trees in it. But I need you to understand the Serpent Holder, because this is the age of Ophiuchus. This is the age of the 13. So the 13th zodiac sign is the Serpent Holder. It's the Serpent Bearer. That's the age that we're in. So your job is to over and understand, as we talk about in all of these classes. My job is just to share the information, because to get you out of the hypnotic state, because that's my role that I'm playing. That's the character that's inside of my DNA that is activated by this cosmology. It's above my pay grade. It's above your pay grade. There's nothing that you can do to get in or get out. The only thing that you can do is wake up, so that way you can end this reincarnation. The next book that we're talking about in the advanced class, and the book after that, is we get into over the understanding Job 6 and Tiamat and Cthulhu, which is another way of expressing the energy that's in the air right now as we speak. So right now as we speak, there's energy. It's activating entities. This energy that's activating these entities inside of you. So that way they can keep you trapped inside of this frequency, wave of vibration, so that way you cannot ascend. The goal is to give you whatever you need to keep you busy, whether it be a problem or a solution. Both energies activate the Kundalini and the Kunda buffer to keep you tied and trapped in his home. That's why you got histones inside of the body. The histones, if you look at the histone, and if you Google it, you'll see it is a cosmic egg. The egg, however, is wrapped around a serpent. Now, most people, and I understand, I'm just like you. We got other shit to do. We're not really concerned because this is above, like I said, talk about all the time, this is above most of our pay grade. You know, we're interested in cars and houses and money, and trust me, I like that shit too. But you got to ask yourself, why now? What's going on in the world? When you really tap into the fact that this is a trap or a trick to keep you stuck or keep you trapped in this low vibrational frequency, wave and vibration, because you literally are a fallen frequency. Some say angel. And some have signed a pact to establish this material world, but they have no chi and no power because it was taken by source. So in order for this world to work, I need your energy. I need to harvest your energy. So I don't have any if I'm the bad guy. If I'm the bad guy, I don't have no energy. So I need yours. So I need a WBAN. I need a wide body area network. That's you. So I can send a frequency, a wave of vibration, but I got to keep you in a silent recession. I got to make sure that you not understand the psychology of oppression. Because if you put two and two together, then you'll be able to see through the forest. And you will see that all of this economic uncertainty is designed to keep you in a state where you are always operating in a recession, oppression, depression, possession. The only way I can take over your body, because if I'm a disembodied sprite or a disembodied spirit, then I have to hijack your spirit. But I can't tell you, because if I tell you, then you now can make a conscious decision not to participate. And you could take the frequency, wave, and vibration, my frequency, wave, of vibration, my influence, my ability to override how you think. And you can start thinking for yourself. And now, if you start thinking for yourself, then that neuters my power. Because the only way that I can control the brain is through occupying the phonon and photon that activates the brain. And the only way for me to do that is I got to control the thoughts that you think. I cannot allow you to think. So I got to keep you on a treadmill. Like, depending on how you process information, if you're good with processing negative, I'm going to give you positive. If you're really good at processing positive, I'm going to give you negative. It's only the people that can process both positive and negative can get out of the cosmic energy of the cosmic serpent that's designed to keep you trapped in this dimension, because I need your chi. Because if I'm the bad guy and I'm disconnected from source because I chose to create another reality, another realm, using my energy and my knowledge, because that's what they did. If you want, whoever they are, they chose this cosmic serpent, uses the DNA and the knowledge and the intelligence. We call them fallen angels. This is in every ancient text. It talks about this. Every ancient text on the planet talks about the same thing. All the ancient texts say the same thing. And when I connect with people, they can't see the forest because the forest got a lot of trees in it. That just simply means that you're on a treadmill. Regardless if the treadmill is positive or negative, it's still a treadmill. And you can tell because you have a feeling. And the feeling is not based upon source. That's how we create the field. They don't have the power unless you react. The whole game is a game of returning to a past actor. That's why, according to Terrence Howard, he has his knowledge since a child at 15. So the question is, why would he come forth with the knowledge now if he's always had it? I've always been doing the same thing. You've been doing the same thing. Nobody just all of a sudden changes to that degree. Because there would be something, his friends, his family would be like, yeah, I remember when that nigga was little, he used to do this, he was walking around here talking about blah, blah, blah. None of that's happening. And everybody is just lapping it up. Anytime someone comes forth, shares the knowledge, the information that I know, and they share it on a broad and a public stage, I know that they cannot be operating in truth because they would be dead. I've been saying the same thing as, Dan Winter, my boy Royal, Raymond Rife, Walter Russell, you could even say to a certain degree Nikola Tesla. You can definitely talk about Delbert Blair. All these people, they gone. And they did not have the stage. So if you're on the world stage and you are getting attention, and if I'm saying the same thing and I got two people, Terrence Howard is saying the same thing I'm saying, and he got millions. He went to Harvard. How is that possible? Because it's the flower of life is just like the what's my boy? What's his name? Dre. Can't put up his name. Anyway, he's same thing. Leonard Horowitz, same thing. Look at his name. Horowitz. Witz represents intelligence. Horror. Horror. It's like Leonard Horowitz. So we look at Lucious, which is another word for Lucifer. Lions is another word, but it's spelled Lyon. It's another word for lying. It's Lucifer lying. Lucifer always lies. Why did they select Terrence Howard? And again, he probably don't even know. Most people who control are themselves controlled. The only way to get out of the system, as we talked about yesterday, is to over and understand the IEEE 802.15.6. We broke that down already when we talked about the fact that you are nothing but a electronic or a digital device. That's why they're using your biometrics. So depending on your name, your database, and your blood type, that determines what frequency is being sent into your organs. And I tell you guys about the lady Susan, I think it's Susan Walker. I don't know, she's in hiding. She used to be this big not CIA, but worked for the government. And all of her, when we talked about this and before, and you can Google all this stuff and research her. She's a little out there, but it's just like me. Everything she's saying is 1,000%, 100% true. And she got, 10 followers? Weird shit happens to her. Phone gets disconnected, this thing, that. So you can always tell the people who are really, really telling the truth and the people who are not. Like I love my boy Billy Carson, but now I noticed the little girl, the little Spanish chick, not Spanish, or Oriental chick that he's with. She's always there, and notice how she touches him. Look at all of the videos now, and look at when he talks, because that's his programmer. So he's been, there's a lot of stuff going on, but you gotta be able to see the forest for the trees. The people who have certain things, they are in a pattern. And they don't know it because, again, most of us, our brains are in a trance. That's what Romans 12:2 tells you to be ye trance. That creates your form by the renew mind. So if you don't renew your mind, then you stay in Ophiuchus. You stay in what is called circumpolar, which is the ulcer minor. It's a frequency. It's like E minor. But that is considered a specific constant installation. But a constellation is a frequency because everything is a frequency. and it's called Polarius. And if you look at the word Polarius, it has the word iris, it has the word pole, or well, we get the word polar, like the word bipolar. The word iris is in there, the word Christ is in there. All that's inside of that one word. That's the system, the frequency, the wave, and the vibration that Terrence Howard is talking about. Now, it's not bad, it's not good. They use the system that Source set up, but they use it to keep you trapped. As we will get to, I think it's book 7 or 8. We're getting ready to start a new book, probably tonight or tomorrow. But they set up this DNA, cosmic, I'm using the word cosmic DNA. This is the science of what they call the dog, or Dagon, D-O-G-O-N, dog on. It comes from the dog star. And it's interesting because the Dagons were a tribe from Africa. And if you remember Muwa, who had that interview with David Icke, who talked about the sky people who came down, before then, Muwa said that they did not use their tongue. They used their brains. The sky people gave them in exchange for their gnosis and their knowledge or access to their body. They gave them ayahuasca. They gave them something called abunga, I-B-O-G-G-A. And he was a shaman or shaman. They gave him shamanism. And they opened them up to what is called a psychotropic mind. So most people I talk to, they have a psychotropic mind. Then they have no idea, but the psychotropics come from the drugs that are induced from inside the body. I just use it for positive. That's why I work out 3 times a day to release endorphins, because it's a drug. So I release feel good, so I get my downloads from source instead of getting the downloads from the mediation. Most people, as we talked about in a private show, right now your brain is under a spell. You're in a trance. You're hypnotized. You can't be on the planet unless you're hypnotized. The way that the system works is through hypnotic. Remember, we talked about the word hypno and then the word gnotic. So the trick is for you to be aware. It ain't nothing about changing it. You got to be aware of your numbers. Because the numbers is the way by which the emanations work inside of the body. And so there are people that don't know their own numbers. And those are the people that can get duped into doing something bad all the time. They thinking they're doing something good. And you can tell because the people like that are doing bad in the name of their deity, and they really believe that they're doing good. Because the wireless body area network, the WBAN that they are on, is 802.15.6. Because that is the international standard for voice to skull and all of the organs, because your organs are a musical instrument. They operate on a specific frequency. And so all technology is tuned to that frequency in order to control, without you even noticing, the human body. So your organs and everything is based upon this industrial scientific method that they. Now remember, this is standard knowledge. That's why some people walk around and we call them cuckoo and crazy and all this other stuff. They just have a deeper understanding of what's going on. The average human has no clue because we're not supposed to. This is way above our pay grade. What I'm sharing with you today is where we're going, where we've already been, which is what do you do with this knowledge? What do you do with this information? What is the purpose? This is the metaphysics of eternal life. This is how you, whether you are a Jude 6 individual, whether you are what we just talked about, depending on your blood type and your name and all this other stuff, that determines your lane. Your job is to understand yourself. That's number one. Your job is not to really understand anybody else. It takes you a lifetime just to understand yourself. Because the average person, they don't even know themselves. When you talk to the average person, they don't know themselves. Now, what do I mean by they don't know themselves? It's like, look how long it took me to figure out me. It took me eons, a.k.a. a long time to figure out, okay, each letter in my name, what is a letter? What is a number? Nobody asked those questions. Where was I born and why that place? Why that time? By the time I went through studying and researching all of this stuff, I was already in my 40s. The light didn't come on because I was too busy making and earning like everybody else. So the whole point of the system is so that when you don't understand the vibrations of the numbers, each number has a specific vibration. That vibration has a specific entity. But the vibration can be changed with your verbs. The verbs change your nerves. So they know that. They giving you verbs. Every verb that you use today was given to you. You didn't create a verb. If what you're doing, the way you eat, drink, sleep, everything you do in your entire life, you didn't write that script. That's somebody else's script. The way you walk, the way you talk, comb your hair, the way you dress, that was taught. You didn't create. It ain't bad, it ain't good, it's what it is. So when you notice it, that's it. That's the game. That's how you get out. You get out by noticing how the fact that you don't notice. They cannot allow you, so I got to give you more money or I got to take your money. Whichever one stops you from noticing, I'm going to do. That's the system. The system is I got to give you what you need so that way you walk in an unknown energy. The energy is the entity. This is called the Grabovoi numbers. Grabovoi. After this Hungarian dude that broke down what they call EMT and EMR and MT radionics. It's just a fancy way of saying I got to control your wide body area network. So they came up with the IEEE. Look at the letters. IEEE. It's a structure. It structures. Remember, letters create structure. Structure creates function. So for example, I can now restructure by using vibrational architecture. One's independent leaders. Two's very cooperative, very balanced. Three's very creative, very communicative. Four's very stable, very hardworking. Five's very free and adventurous. Six, very responsible, very loving. Seven, very spiritual, very introspective, very analytical. Eight, very ambitious, very materialistic, very powerful. Nine's very humanitarian, very sophisticated, and very complete. So now that I know that, you can look at what's your life pattern, what's your numbers. Just taking, again, there's a bunch of them, but to keep it simple. And remember that, that Kabbalistic Jew, you guys check your little text. I've been texting and sending it to you guys this morning. That guy that's talking, he's a Kabbalist. Hebrew, born and raised. That means he knows this shit way deeper than I do. And I have a very, very deep over and understanding of the power of letters and numbers. But these guys are born. It's just in their blood. It's their heritage. They understand, overstand, and understand numbers on a entirely different level than I do. And all I'm telling you is there's a specific protocol. This protocol that they use creates trans logic. That's what they call it. So you are in a trans-logic state. I'm in it. You're in it. Everybody's in it. That's how you can be a man and cry, feel, and even go to the point, God forbid, of hurting yourself because you believe you're a woman. You honestly, y'all talk to them, man. Everybody got somebody in their family. If you don't, I got a couple you can borrow from my family. They are in a trance. Now, you could talk to them and they'd be like, I don't know what the fuck you talking about. Like all my gay friends, when I used to sit down and have these conversations, especially when I was in corporate America, and I used to talk because I honestly, I couldn't figure it out because I know as a man how I think and how most men think. So when you find a man that says that he is a woman, or a woman that says she's a man, that lets me know that the way that they think, something changed the way that they think. What caused? Causality. So I'm a causality guy. I look at what causes you to do what you do. I don't care what you do. I'm looking at what causes you. There's people that are doing stuff and they don't know what caused. So you give and you don't give. You eat or you don't eat. You sleep or you. But what causes? What is the causality of your reality? So we don't understand trans logic, and if we don't understand cognitive dissonance, we're in trouble. Because we're in a state of progressive trans logic, or what they call transism. Everybody's in a trance. Now, again, I'm not really interested in getting out of the trance. I like monetizing the trance. The enemy does not like when you take what he meant for evil and you use it for good. So they get real pissed off when you do that. Whoever they are, we don't know what they are. Because they want to harvest your energy. Now, they don't give a fuck what you do as long as I can trick you into doing what I want you to do while you thinking you doing what you want to do. So pretty much everybody that I know, everybody that you know, that's what they're doing. Because they cannot explain to you the causality of their reality. They can't explain to you the cause. Now, remember, everything I'm doing right now is not what I want to do. I would prefer, honestly, to be doing something totally different. Like I said, I know doing this is pretty much a waste of time. I'm doing classes, I'm talking to people that's really in a trance. So you really can't understand what the fuck I'm talking about unless you get out of the trance. So it's done either out of respect or out of connect. So I do a lot of things the same way. I do a lot of things out of respect, and I do a lot of things out of connect. You see, I do a lot of things that me and my wife don't agree upon. But out of respect, I don't agree with a lot of things that they say traditional stuff, like you guys know with the traditional religious stuff. But out of respect. I don't agree, but out of respect. So I don't disrespect like her mom and her dad. My own children. They don't agree with a lot of stuff I talk about. But out of respect, they don't call me up and say, Dad, heard your show, it's just garbage. They don't do that. Out of respect. So a lot of things you're doing right now, you're not doing it because that's your purpose, that's your destiny, that's your diaconia. That gets you in an amplified state. That actually gets you to a state. Remember, a succubus and an incubus are vibrational. Succubus and incubus, they use, now we call it sex. It's just anything that puts you in an amplified state. It could be a car, it could be like a Corvette. So my Corvette could be a succubus or an incubus. It's a way to divert energy from purpose. So everything that you're doing right now, pretty much, I put all my money on the fact that 99.999% of stuff you're doing, I'm doing, everybody's doing, is designed to take you away. It doesn't take you towards. But that's the game, though. You're supposed to taste. You're supposed to notice it. Then after you notice it, guess what happens? It doesn't work because they only can work if you don't notice. The enemy does not want to be seen. If you can see, you can expose. That's why they call it the all-seeing eye. They believe that the material realm is such a, remember, the lust of the flesh, the pride of life, the cares of this world. It is so powerful, the illusion creates confusion. So that creates what is called a supreme frequency. That's what's called white supremacy. But they really remember there's no such thing as white. Black is the absence of all color. Black is the inclusion of all color. So there's only one color. But that's another story for another time. So they understand what is called 12 around 1. Remember, Jesus had 12 disciples. Look at your life optimization circle. You got 12 numbers. But in the middle of that circle, where is the number that's in the middle of your life optimization circle? You know what that number is? That's the number that is divisible into all the other numbers. So what number is divisible into all the other numbers the most in your circle? Mine is 3. What is yours? I can divide 3 into pretty much most of my numbers except for 2 or 3 of them. For most of it, it's a 1. You can divide 1 into pretty much all of the numbers equally. Sometimes it's 2. If you got a lot of even numbers. If you got a lot of odd numbers. It's like me, then okay, maybe a 3. But what's the point? The point is that's the voice in your head. So the voice in your head is a number that frequency appears to you. That's their system. So why are we fighting it? That's the serpent. That's the circulation. That's the cosmic. That's spintronics. That's Leviathan. That's the last. We just finished book 4. We started book 5 tonight. Nobody's teaching that. It's the same shit that Terrence Howard, but he's giving you Lucifer's lie. Because he's leaving out a lot of good. He's talking about flower of life, unfolded flower of life, flower of life. That's fractals. That's a fractured. Okay? That's not singularity. But that's this system. So he's saying A truth. But he's not saying B. It's just another layer. And everybody's going to lap it up. And they should. There's nothing wrong with it. But the goal is to do what? Be above it. Be outside of it. How come? I can see it. See, the goal is for you to see without judging. Could you imagine if you lived in a world where you could see and you could know, but yet you don't feel? The only thing that you would feel is love. So when I worked in the prison, the only way I was able to do and be as effective as I was. When I was a probation officer, the only way I could go into a Mexican Mafia member's house with 30 of his family members there, all tatted up, and they all hate black people, especially a black man telling them what to do. The only way I can go in there with the fucking radio and come out alive is the fact that I was able to see everything and know everything and be neutral. I really honestly did not give a fuck how many people they killed and why they did it. I had a job to do. I didn't cast judgment. I didn't look down. Remember, brothers and sisters, if your energy is disrespectful, you're dead. And a lot of people, that's why relationships don't work. I know a lot of people, when I do counseling, I tell you guys all the time, the woman doesn't understand how she's disrespecting the man. And the man doesn't understand why the woman isn't feeling like she's number one and that he really loves her. He buys her flowers. He does everything right, but the woman doesn't feel loved. She doesn't feel heard. Why? His energy is disrespectful. His actions are not. If your energy, see, the universe doesn't respond to people whose energy is disrespectful. And 99.99% of us, our energy, you saying and doing all the right things, but you don't understand why there's a distance between you and whoever, or why shit's not working, or why things are like, you ever notice how you could do something, you could be doing basic shit. You could have a car and it just keeps breaking down. You've done everything to that car, man. You've been running, fixing up, you replaced the starter, you replaced the alternator, you put a new this and new, and the fucking car, that means your energy is disrespectful. See, the universe, people ask me all the time, man, I'm doing everything right, Doc, and I can't manifest. I'm my mantras, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, but I'm not manifesting because your energy, what does it mean? That means that you're not in an attitude of gratitude. That means that you're not operating in the 3 O's that we talked about. You think you don't have options. That's the biggest one. You think you don't have opportunities. And you don't think that the world is opulent. So the fact that we don't have the 3 Kirkus or the 3 O's, we wake up in the morning and we don't have options. Like, shit, man, I don't have nothing else to do. So you don't see options. You don't see opportunities, and you don't see that we live in a world of opulence. Even though the world is crazy and it's backwards, but guess what? You control the vibration you're in. Nobody else can do that. Only you can do that. Now, you probably giving, like I used to do, you're probably giving the control of your vibration. That means your energy away because of fear. So when I was a cop, when I worked in Supermax, when I worked around people that was a different vibration than me, I had to change my chi, otherwise it wouldn't work. They wouldn't respect me because I was disrespecting them. One thing you can't do in prison is disrespect. Your ass gonna get shanked. I don't give. They will tell you straight up. You can walk in there. You can think you're the man if you want. Inmates run the prison. The world is a prison. That's why I think everybody should work in a prison. I wish it was mandatory. Every man, woman, and child should work like at least a year inside of a prison so you can see how the world works. So everything I learned that I'm teaching you, I learned from working inside of a prison. Because the world is a prison. But it's a prison. A prison and a prism are exactly the same. They work on unspoken codes. These are hidden codes and social norms. It's normal, it's socially acceptable, and it's a hidden, it's not written. This is the oral tradition that's been passed down from generation to generation. That's what all of the text. So everything I'm teaching you, everything that Terrence Howard is talking about, that's just not written down. It was passed down by the oral tradition. The world that we live in is not based upon written laws. It's based upon spiritual laws. They're universal, but they're not written down. So if you find a law written down, like the 7 Humanic laws, like the 10 Commandments, that's man-made. God's laws are cosmic. They're universal. This is what they call cell states. These are prism states. It's a PRISM state. It's a cellular state. That's where we get the word quanta. It's a quanta or quantum. So when we talk about quantum, or quanta, telepathy, bam, that's God. So source code don't use your larynx or your voice box. We do because we're we're a dumbed down source. So Lucifer had to create a vibration. He's a vibrational engineer. So social engineering and social awareness, that's all Lucifer shit. He's a vibrational engineer. Source code don't need that. Source code operates on mano y mano, mind to mind, mental telepathy, psychic. That's why most 11s have difficulty in this system because they're picking up 2 systems. That's why they got one pole and another pole. That creates 2 poles. So which pole wins? The pole that they pay the most attention to. But the 2 poles never stop sending the frequency. So if they're not careful in harmonizing and selecting the right pole, whether it's source codes or Lucifer's pole, they can find themselves in a world of mental hurt because their brain get bombarded by the dark agenda, this global fascism, for lack of a better term. And so it becomes unsustainable. They have mental breakdowns because it's a constant. The shit never turns off. So confusion is the result of their system. When you find somebody in a state of confusion, that means that they're getting 2 frequencies piped into one brain. So they come up lame because the inability to make a decision. Remember what diligence we talked about? So Ophiuchus is the serpent bearer, is the serpent holder. You are supposed to ride the waves. You are supposed to understand the constant installation. A constellation is a cluster of stars. There are 88 constellations. What was the name of the movie again that's based upon Barack Obama's life? 88. Did you watch the movie? Because if you watch the movie, then you understand that there's some freaky shit going on. Confusion is the name of the game. Keep you in a state where you cannot express, expose, and expand. This is about transformation, not information. You see, brothers and sisters, when we don't bring about transformation instead of information, it creates deformation. You notice the world that we're living in is deformed. We're not evolving, we are devolving. Remember, you can go and you can type in Google, type in a world fairs, a world, just world fair. Click on images. And look at the world fair from the 1930s. What happened to all of that technology? All buildings were built upon what they call atmospheric energy. In other words, at the top of every church and every steeple, there was a certain type of a symbol because it was able to harness. That's why they had those big old pipe organs in those ancient churches. That's why the cathedrals was built in a way to harness atmospheric energy. But then the Rockefellers came out and they purchased, I forgot what year, you can Google that. It was 5 families that bought the United States of America. You guys remember we did shows on this years ago. How the fuck you purchase the whole country? Rockefellers, the 5 families that they bought the United States. So, because the United States is a corporation. And then they made the headquarters at D.C., and D.C. runs the rest of the country. These were the billionaires back in the day. They literally purchased. That, to me, that is wild. That 5 families purchased the United States for, I forgot how many, and back then it was, I don't know how many thousands of dollars. That would be worth like millions of dollars today. But they didn't purchase America. They purchased the United States. Because remember, you got the United States and then you got America. So the United States is a corporation. What's the point? It's a trans. It's a trans state. It simply means that when we talk about the United States of America, that's totally different from what we call America. But again, what are we talking about? Because people say what? That's baloney. But then when you go and you just Google Tartarian Empire and do the same thing, it's, Tartaria, I think it's called. So where are all of those buildings from the Tartarian Empire that was all built upon harnessing atmospheric energy? They all got replaced when we discovered oil. The 5 families that took over, they changed our history. So all of our history is a lie. From the perspective of what was actually here. So that puts you in a trance if you don't question the nature of the reality. What are you supposed to do about it? Nothing. You're supposed to be aware of it. By being aware of it, that neutralizes it. So in other words, if I'm hiding in a closet inside of your home, I'm waiting to scare you. But you are aware that I'm hiding in the closet inside of your home. Well, when I jump out and say boo, it doesn't have the desired effect of creating a genome. Y'all remember the movie Monsters, Inc.? What was they harvesting? Fear. I need your fear because your fear is my oxygen. So I got to keep you in a state of fear. So for some people, they create more fear when they have a lot of money. Some people create more fear when they have less money. Some people create more fear and anxiety and worry and stress when they are in good health, but they got to try to keep it. Some people, they produce more fear when they are in bad health. So whatever, they just tinker with your numbers to find out what state I need to put you in to produce the most fear, because again, this is just like Monsters Inc. This is a corporation of monsters. And I want to get the reward like, I think his name was Sully. He was the #1 scarer, or whatever his name was in the movie. And it was a little cartoon, right? Everything's a cartoon. Because a cartoon is what? Phantasmagoria. But we don't, again, this whole world is a stage. So your job is to question the nature of your reality, because then what happens? You can't harvest my fear. So the people that they are able to keep in the state of most stress, they operate on that frequency of the 802.15.6. That sends out that frequency that says, hey, there's a lot of adrenochrome over here. Send the demons, so they can harvest the energy. They're like in the movie Jupiter Ascending, Jupiter Rising. But who did they send? The Dracos. The Dracos are what? The Dagons. All religions come from Dagon, come from Africa. It comes from a frequency, wave, and vibration to keep you in what they call metatime. It's like Metatron or Metatrans. Now remember, everybody is in it. I'm in it. You're in it. If you ever get out, you exit the stage. This game that they set up is like Westworld. Now, I've been watching a series called Outer Range. It's on Amazon. Wild. It's a big hole in the Bermuda Triangle underneath the ocean. It's a big-ass pyramid. It's made out of the same stuff that the Emerald Tablet is, that no man, woman, child on the planet knows what it's made out of. They just know that it is. Remember, since 6, my favorite color has been emerald green. That's what I was looking for, and the color I was looking for was that's the color I'm looking for my next vet. Hunter green, dark, so green that it looks black. Why? That's the color of the Emerald Tablets. I'll tell you guys about the play that I wrote, and I performed that when I was in my early 20s. They had no clue. It's called the Emerald Bible. It's identical. Remember, this was back in my religious nut job days. I had no clue. I had never read nor heard of any of the stuff automatic. Everything I've been doing in my life, I can find in the ancient text. From walking around with no shoes on, to eating watermelons, to sun gazing, to fucking sitting out in the middle of the woods by myself, doing what the dominant culture called meditation. All of this high-end, what they call Saturius or Saturnus, SIRTUINS science, that your boy from Harvard is coming out with, that all the dominant culture and the NAD, all this shit that everybody's spending all this money for. And I've been doing that shit since I was 13. But what's the point? See, this kind only come out by prayer and fasting. That pattern that you got and that everybody got, your job is to get into a point where you have less contact, less communication with the low vibration. Everybody has it because we're in the flesh. But the goal is to make sure that you have it. It doesn't have you. That's the serpentine knowledge. That's the serpent bearer. That's Ophiuchus. You hold the serpent. The serpent doesn't hold you. So it's not bad. That's the hardest thing to get people to understand, is that when you talk about Ophiuchus, you talk about the zodiac signs, you talk about the 13 zodiac signs that's on a 13 calendar month based on the cycles of the moon, not based upon the Gregorian chants and the Gregorian. So we got our whole system is wrong. So when you understand that, then Scorpio and Sagittarius, they change. They're in a different position. So now you're getting deep into serpentina. So this is the same serpent that appeared in the garden, remember, in the story in the Bible. Well, this serpent is also what they call Quetzalcoatl, or Pulpulcon, which we're breaking down, starting with the new series. Or, remember, old boy's name in Black Panther, T'Challa. It's the Aztecs, it's the Mayas, it's the Incas. It's an archetypal energy of the serpent. And everybody tell me it's evil, Sister Sandra. Everybody says that's evil, brother. Praise Jesus. Really? Oh, the Incas, the Aztecs, the Mayans, the Hindus, the Dagons, the Bantu, the Sanskrit, every culture, every indigenous culture on the planet has the same story. I remember being on Coast to Coast with Robert Morningsky, the Native American who talked to the Hopi Indians. Me, him, Zen Garcia, my boy John the Baptist, we was all talking about it. He was sharing the native culture story that was passed out to him when they was on his vision quest. And he talked about Al Philippus, Lord in waiting. I was doing this shit 20 years ago. What Terrence Howard is talking about, we were talking about 20 years ago. And so what's happening is, it's another con job to separate you from the secret of immortality. Because the secret is inside of the herbs. See, when we get further down the road in our understanding, we talk about the ability for you to be a snake handler and a snake charmer. Because in the ancient text, the word Ophiuchus, that's what it means. You're supposed to handle. You're supposed to charm. You're supposed to make the serpent your B-I-T-C-H, the Kundalini and the Kunda buffer, the succubus and the incubus, they work for me. They should work for you. Now that's going to be an issue. What is the issue? When, to the degree that you see them, that's the degree that they see you. So they're going to give you the hydra instead of the hydro. It's the hydra of desire. In the Buddhist culture, in the Sanskrit, in the ancient Hindu culture, they call it the temptation of Mara, or M-A-R-A. Mara is the temptation of the outer world to distract you from the inner world. Do you know a Negro that's not under the temptation of Mara? Do you know anybody? I don't know nobody. Do you know? I don't know nobody. Again, they say they're out there. I just ain't bumped into them yet. And you can tell because follow the money, follow the time, and follow the space. It's amazing the higher I go up, the smaller the groups get. Ain't bad, ain't good. I knew this. This is why I tried to hang out as long as I could. Because I did this before, same shit happened. I'm a six. I like people. But unfortunately now, Big G's like, gotta let him go, bro. Can't save nobody. The problem with being a six is what we're not carrying. You see, brothers and sisters, the hydra, not the hydro. H-Y-D-R-A instead of H-Y-D-R-O. That is the secret of over and understanding for which is another book we will break it down in the ancient class. See, Apollo had a mama. His mama was called Coronis, but we got Corona. Remember, hooked on phonics works for me. So they take out and they rearrange vowels because vowels are interchangeable. There are no vowels in ancient texts. So what the esoteric, let's use the word, what's the best word? Let's stick with the word culture. There's a frequency wave of vibration, brothers and sisters, that's based upon an esoteric culture. That said, I'm going to give you the knowledge, but I just got to change around in some jots and tittles. Remember, the Bible says heaven and earth will pass away before one jot and one tittle. Talking about vowels. So these good old boys, they ain't stupid. They know that one letter changes the whole meaning in a word. One letter. And if I can change the letters. Now, for most people, it doesn't require that. For most people, I just got to give them money or just take money. For most people. Most people, I just got to give them a man or take their man. Most people, I just got to give them a woman or take their woman. Most people, I just give them their dream job. For most people, I just got to give you a dream. I mean, that's what happened to me. I'll tell you guys my story. I got to the other side to the dream, and it was great. But it just came with something called control. Everything that I ever wanted. It was handed to me, Sister Addie. You know what I was told? She told me, Sister Addie, like, you don't even got to work. I got everything. I had never been a kept Negro before, Sister Addie. It was good. Like about, 6 months? Yeah, I know the story. Went to the dealer's showroom for it. She said, pick any car you want. When that black Camaro I had, yeah, y'all remember? I was doing shows. I told you. Came home, she was like, what you doing? I'm doing what I want. Put the phone on speaker. I need to hear what y'all talking about. Cameras was all in the house. So what the fuck the cameras for? I'm going to the gym. Like, how the fuck she know what I'm doing at the gym? She was high-end, politician. Everybody in the town was in her pocket. I could go to the grocery store, Daddy. She knew what time I got there, what time I left, and what I purchased. Oh, yeah, you can have anything you want, bro. It just comes with a little control. So as long as you cool with that control, you can have anything you want. Because that is the archetype. You ever see how a serpent feels its prey? What does it do? It wraps them up and it squeezes them. Till what? Your ass stop breathing. That's their system. So when you see all these people in Hollywood and stuff, all the puff daddies and, man, don't envy them. Because you don't know what they had to give up to get what they got. It comes with a level of control. So your job is to know the game. Know how the serpent bearer works. It's the same frequency, wave, and vibration. Like the Bible says, there is nothing new under the sun. My job and your job is to expose you to the system that allows you to be able to operate in a aletheia. That's the only way, according to the Bible, for you not for God to give you the strong delusion. If you do not have the love of the truth, God himself will send you a strong serpent delusion. So it's open, he got two jobs. He has this ability to over and understand, to separate the wheat from the tares. That's why it's called the divining serpent. It should be called the dividing serpent. So that's what's going on with your boy Terrence Howard. He's part of what I call the Gestapo. Gestapo, that's how you say it. What that simply means? That just simply means he's been hijacked. His brain has been hijacked. So I'm not saying he's cloned, I'm not saying nothing, blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying anything. All I'm simply saying is, probably you're doing the same thing like what happened to me. So I just had a desire to take care of my family. Remember the movie Dracula Untold? Dracula wasn't a bad dude, not in the beginning. Well, depending on who you talk to. But what's the point? Well, he had a dream. What was his dream? He probably was a 6, because that's the only way to get a 6. The only way to get a 6 is for the 6 to put a person, place, or thing in front of him or her and say, I want blank for blank. Bam. He got you. But remember, 6s, they use caring against us because we're carers. But I got to weaponize the care. It can't be regular care. The care has to be a type of care that does what? Keeps you from pursuing your God-given purpose, destiny, and diaconia. It can't be regular care. It got to be weaponized. Because care means what? Worry and anxiety, stress. It is the definition of the word care. Do you know a 6 that's not in that state? So I'm in that state, but what do I do when they're in that state? I use the state. Because they don't want you to use the state. They don't want you to use, because remember, that little note I sent you guys, they want you to stay in the position of what? Cognitive dissonance. That's where your brains hold completely contradictory ideals, not realizing that the impossibility of this, believing both to be equally true at the same time. You might be, I own you now. That's the goal of the dominant culture. So they put every 6 in that position. Now, I'm talking from a 6 because I'm a 6. If you're a 1, they do the same thing, but they do it with leadership. If you're a 2, they do the same thing because they do it in your tuition. If you're a 2, right now your intuition is telling you two totally different things are true. And you're stuck in Groundhog's Day because you don't know which one to believe. If you're a 3, you're creating both. You're creating good and creating evil. 4s, you're stable and unstable. The enemy gets you to do 2 things at once. And you get burnt out because that shit's tiring after a while. Now you good for a couple of days, weeks, depending on your level of energy. What is the point? What you're doing right now is draining your energy. I don't even know what you're doing. I got $100,000 say that you're draining your energy. How come? What are you doing? Think about it. Look at when you woke up this morning, you're on the treadmill. You have to do what? But are you on the treadmill? Or is the treadmill on you? Ooh, come on, preacher. I know I'm preaching. Where y'all think I got this from? Y'all think I just make this shit up? This didn't happen to me, like past tense. So you're supposed to be the holder of the serpent. Where's the serpent? Kundalini and Kunda buffer. But you got a vibrational succubus and a vibrational incubus. That means I'm going to use sex, but we don't know what sex is. We think sex just means, penis and punani. We're talking about cosmic sex. So you are engaged in a energy exchange right now. $100,000 if you're not. I like the people that don't have shit to do, like unemployed. Like I talked to a family member, and we were kind of going through something. And like always, they call me, hit me up, and say, "Hey man, April, cuz, man, what if you could help me out?" I was in this particular case, they employed, they went out, and then the unemployment just ran out. And so now that the unemployment has run out, well, they're looking at, shit, I got to do something. Because, more money's going out than coming in. So those are usually the calls I get. I say, man, and they always thought the same thing. Shit, bro, I know you got money. They always thought the same way. I know you got money. That's one of my mantras, by the way, too. I know I got money. So when you understand, okay, so The energy that's been exchanged is one where there is what they call faculty of struggling with the temptation. It's a struggle with understanding labor. So labor is the key to understanding your life path and your soul's path. You see, the whole purpose behind Ophiuchus and everything on this planet is about struggling. If you look at all of the, like for example, like Hercules and the story of Hercules and Samson and Delilah, David and Bathsheba, Daniel and the lion's den, then Jonah in the belly of the whale, the three Hebrew boys, every story is a struggle. It's an energy struggle. That's the game. You see, the game is not about winning and losing. The game is about struggle because in the struggle, your power is diminished. In order for me to diminish your power, steal your chi, in order for me to steal your energy, I got to shine the light of how our awareness, or lack of it, on that which tempts us, it destroys us. See, we wrestle. The Bible says, remember, we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against wickedness. But where's it at? It's in fucking high places. Well, so why you think you're making a decision about buying a car? You think you're making a decision about what type of grass you're going to put on your lawn? When you think you're making a decision about what's for dinner? When you think you're making a decision about, I'm going to date this girl or that guy? When you thinking, you thinking. You thinking, you just thinking. It's still your chi. See, I tackle desire at the root. When you bring it to full awareness, you establish something called 1 Thessalonians chapter 2, verses 8, 9, 10, and 11. Because that is the only way out. Narrow is the road that leads to right standing. Broad is the road that leads to temptation. You see, brothers and sisters, everybody has to face their own struggle on this spiritual journey. See, the struggle is between what you may call good and evil. It's not good and evil. It's not temptation. It's what we call personality and purpose. See, the outer world that distracts us from our path or distracts us from the inner world. That's what the battle is. See, there's a range of intensity. If you're really high-strung like me, then your battle will be less intense. Because remember, you're real intense. People who are very, very intense. What do I mean by intense? That means that you're very emotionally astute. What do I mean by emotionally astute? That means that you're probably born in Septem, or you may be born in Augustus, or you may be born in Julius. Because in those frequencies, that lies in the most Hydra, that seven-headed snake, that's designed to steal, kill, and destroy. But how does it work? Emotional and psychological wounds. Why? They require all of your attention to heal. See, the struggle is about avoidance. It's not about, you're trying to avoid something. So if you're born in Augustus, or if you're born in Julius, or if you're born in September. Now, all of the 12, but especially those three. So there is no Augustus. There is no Julius. So Jews lie. And Augustus Caesar. How many Caesars were there? Come on, man. There is no such thing as July. There is no such thing as August. So those are fictitious frequencies. September is not the 9th month, it's the 7th. And octagon, the October, octo means 8. They got us. They put us in a struggle that pulls on our emotional and our psychological well-being. But it's a struggle of avoidance. The inability to bring about what we think about. See, the serpent tempted Eve with fruit of the forbidden tree of knowledge. So the temptation is for consumption. So you know where you're at based upon your level of consumption. What are you consuming? What is consumption? We live in a capitalistic society, man. So the enemy, he has to get you with a lot of it or no of it. So I'm gonna give you a lot of money. Or I'm gonna give you no money. I'm gonna give you good health or no health. I'm gonna give you a bunch of degrees or no degrees. It's the extreme. See, I'm an extreme guy. I got a high chi. I got high energy. I go all day, every day, 24/7. But what is that? That's desire, temptation, or both. So I got to wrestle with both desire and temptation. Why? It pulls on my chi. It reduces my intensity. So there's a range in intensity from a simple urge to do something to a very strong intense. But what is the only way out? Aletheia. Objectivity. According to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 8, 9, 10. God himself will send you a strong delusion. So we become delusional whenever we have a lot or whenever we have a little. Because that's the game. So once you understand the attributes and the characteristics of this whole frequency that we're in. So if you notice what Terrence Howard is coming out with is some shit that's most people can't even comprehend it. It's like reading fucking Dan Winter's shit. Because it's all about the physics of bliss. So what? Most people can't comprehend it. See, the enemy ain't stupid. He becomes very, 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 very intellectual. Because you can't understand it. Or it's so simplified that it doesn't hold your attention. So you dismiss it. Because why? Well, you know, shit, I'm a reverend brother. I'm a doctor. I'm a bishop. What you talking about, man, I ain't feeling. So we got to go back to the roots. What is your roots? Your roots is your numbers. What is your numbers? Remember the video that I shared with you guys? Man, could you imagine if everybody understood the foundation of the roots of everything on this planet? Which is you are a form. But your form comes from a trance. So you can be a trance of the higher self. You can put your own self inside of a energy spiral that's based upon, I mean, you got to get out of what is called the ruling overlord or Ophiuchus or Ophiuchus or Eclipus. Both of those are just terms for Serpent Holder. And get back to the original frequency. That's all I did. And then when I find myself getting off course, I go back to the original frequency. And so when I get back on my original frequency, bam, I get clarity. Because my original frequency is what? That's the frequency that's underneath my negative happy pattern. That's on top of my life-sustaining pattern. So everybody has their own frequency. Your frequency is just, you keep it simple. You got 3 numbers, usually, that make up your one life path number. We all do. So when you look at those 3 numbers, mine is a 3, 3, 6. So when I get off course, I go back to the energy, I go back to the frequency, and I use verbs that comes from the 3 and the 6. And that gets me out of weaponized theory, meaning that I'm able to disconnect from the person, the place, or the thing that I believe is going to save me, help me, assist me, motivate, whatever, because we get attached to people, places, and things instead of attracting people, places, and things. So for me, I get it back to being what? Three. Three, for me, creativity. The next three for me is my imagination. The last three for me is not love, not compassion. It's in the details, because for me that creates. So I love the things that I can understand. So 6 means for me overstanding. Because I'm born in September, so it matches September. So in other words, your life path number has to match your month that you was born. Those two things, because what? That's your SME. I'm a subject matter expert in the month that I was born. So if we go back, everything goes back to how do you keep from getting took, conned, and manipulated? But at the end of the game, I'm going to give you a lot, or I'm going to take what you got. Either way, it creates a feeling. What is the feeling? The feeling is, oh shit. Because why? I got your mind occupied now. Because now you got a whole bunch of stuff, I got your mind occupied on your stuff. If you don't got no stuff, I got your mind occupied and you ain't got no stuff. But what if you can be occupied on your past? If you're occupied on your past, if you are the best in the world on your past, you are a subject matter expert in the area of your expertise. What if you become a subject matter expert in the area of your expertise? Now remember that this world is not your friend. So the world is not, so that means that you got to connect with people who see your worth and value. And those people will be inspired by you because you guys have the same source and they will see you. The people that don't have source, they can't see you. So people who don't have source, they see Terrence Howard. People who do have source, they see through Terrence Howard. Like me, I can see through. Like Billy Carr, I can see through. So whatever guru, I can see through. Because again, being connected to source just simply means what? Your numbers. So what are my numbers? So if your numbers, if you're 1, January, because you can see through anything as long as you're in love. February, spirit. March, courage. April, energy. May, balance. June, wisdom, feminine wisdom. July, action. August, soul healing. September, total awareness. October, emotional balance. November, success. December, spiritual journey or spiritual wisdom. So that's how you establish your discernment. Because remember, that's what the Bible calls aletheia. Aletheia means discernment. Discernment means observation. Observation means objectivity. Objectivity means I'm going to consider all possibilities. But based upon my gut, I'm going to follow my spirit. I'm led by the Ruach and the Pneuma. That means I can't be conned, I can't be manipulated. So the only way that you can be conned and manipulated is if you're not being led by the Ruach and by the Spirit. Then you will make the wrong decision. So that's the game. The energy that we're in, brothers and sisters, is designed so that way you can win. By win, I mean what we call peace of mind. Notice it's not about how much money you got or don't got. It's not about health or don't health. It's not about physical. It's about spiritual. Let this mind be in you that was also in Christ Jesus. It's about prosperity. Prosperity simply means you got all of the stuff, but at night you sleep well. Because you know you didn't wake up with the intent to hurt, harm, and defraud anybody. You know that you are exercising focus, discipline, and order. You're putting your eggs in the right basket. That means that you have intent. It's pure. It's honest. You can stand before source, and you know that you made and are making decisions based upon love, joy, peace, gentleness, meekness, and self-control. Against such things, against such frequency, there is no wall. There is no law. There is no blockage. So you're able to flow in peace and prosperity, because out of your belly flows rivers of living water. Jesus came that you may have life and life more abundantly. Everywhere you go, you're given life. You are a life bearer. That's how you tame, hold, bear, ride the waves of the serpent. Get caught up in semantics. Stay true to your numbers. Man, I love you guys. And nothing you can do about it. Y'all later on tonight. at least for the advanced class. God bless.